Have you ever looked at extreme wealth and wondered, how? Not just the money, but the whole system behind it? Well, today, we're going past the headlines and deconstructing the specific, almost repeatable blueprint used to build and hold on to that kind of fortune. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by taking a hard look at that popular self-made myth. Then we'll dive straight into the psychology, the actual habits, the unique financial plays, and finally, the invisible support systems that make it all work. So let's kick things off with a story we all know and love, the self-made billionaire, the solo genius who did it all on their own. Now, on the surface, the data seems to back this up, but once you start to peel back the layers, well, the story gets a whole lot more interesting. And there's been this absolutely massive shift over the last 100 years. Today, something like 2/3 of the world's billionaires are considered self-made. A century ago, that was completely flipped. Most massive fortunes were just passed down. This massive change really makes you stop and ask a pretty important question. When you're talking about this level of wealth, what does self-made even mean? Is anyone really starting from zero? Well, the reality is, there's often a hidden foundation to that self-made story. Think about what are called soft assets. Getting a world-class education, having access to powerful family networks. That's a huge head start. And on top of that, a ton of today's tech fortunes were built by commercializing technologies, like the internet and GPS, things that, let's not forget, were originally developed with taxpayer money. Okay, so if it's not just about your starting point, what else is going on here? Well, beyond any advantages, researchers have actually found a very distinct psychological profile. And using the Big Five personality model, a really clear pattern starts to show up. First up, an incredibly high level of conscientiousness. Now, this isn't just about keeping a clean desk. This is a deep, internal drive to stay laser-focused on a goal and just chase it down with incredible persistence, sometimes for decades. Second, you see high openness to experience. This is basically the engine of innovation. It's this deep curiosity and a real willingness to play with new, sometimes pretty wild ideas. It's what lets you pivot and adapt instead of just getting stuck in your ways. And number 3 is high extroversion. This one's absolutely key for building the huge networks and relationships. You need to take something from a small idea and scale it into a global business. You have to be out there engaging with the world. Fourth, and honestly, this one is a superpower for leaders, is low neuroticism. It's the ability to stay cool, calm, and collected when everything is on fire. When a crisis hits, this trait lets you think rationally and find solutions instead of getting swamped by stress. And finally, low agreeableness. Now, this might sound kind of harsh, but in this context, it isn't about being a jerk. It's about being willing to have the tough conversations and make the unpopular calls if they're the right moves for the company. It's putting the mission over being liked. Now, the thing that powers all of these traits is a core belief system, an internal locus of control. It's this rock-solid conviction that you are in the driver's seat of your own life. This is what fuels proactivity and, maybe most importantly, turns every failure into a lesson, not an excuse. So, having this powerful mindset is one thing, right? But how does it actually turn into results? Well, it happens through a set of really intense, high-leverage daily habits that are all about turning that psychology into actual output. The first discipline is treating knowledge like a strategic tool. You see it with Warren Buffett reading for hours every single day, or Elon Musk teaching himself rocket science from textbooks. And they're not just reading about their own field, they're pulling in ideas from everywhere to connect dots that nobody else sees. And this is brilliant. It shows how they manage their most important asset, their focus. By using a system like the 70-20-10 rule, they avoid getting bogged down. Most decisions get made fast, which saves all their mental firepower for that tiny fraction of choices that really, truly matter. Okay, let's talk about the money, the financial engine behind this blueprint. Because it's not just about earning more. It's a completely different way of thinking about risk, about leverage, and about what wealth even is. So here's the key. They don't just take huge risks. They are systematically hunting for what are called asymmetric risks. They're looking for those rare shots where the potential win is just massive, absolutely huge, while the potential loss is small and manageable. This quote just nails the whole philosophy, doesn't it? It's all about setting up your bets so you can afford to be wrong over and over again. Because that one time you're right, wow, the payoff is so big, it makes all the little losses totally irrelevant. And this comparison really lays out the core mindset shift. See, most of us are focused on our salary, our earned income, which gets taxed pretty heavily. The wealthy, they're obsessed with their balance sheet, with buying assets that either grow in value or spit out cash. For them, good debt isn't scary, it's a tool you use to buy more of those assets faster. And finally, none of this works in a bubble. This entire personal blueprint, the psychology, the habits, it's all supercharged by these powerful, often invisible systems that are designed to protect and grow that wealth. The first layer of this support system is all about people. They build what you could basically call a personal board of directors. It's this hand-picked network of other top-level execs and mentors who give them brutally honest advice and open doors they couldn't open on their own. Then you have the legal and financial architecture. We're talking a whole sophisticated toolkit, things like offshore trusts, complex holding companies, and very strategic philanthropy, all built to legally shield that wealth from taxes and keep it in the family for generations. And the final piece of the system brings us right back to where we started. It's the ability to use the system itself, to spot those foundational technologies that were developed and de-risked over years with public money, and then be the one to commercialize them at lightning speed. So, what are we left with? When you really break it all down, extreme wealth starts to look less like a random stroke of luck or some kind of magic, and a lot more like a specific architecture. It's a blueprint, one that combines a unique psychology, intense habits, a different financial playbook, and the massive leverage of external systems. And understanding that blueprint, well, it kind of forces you to rethink what success and opportunity really are.